What is a file system allocation unit? Cluster size. Imagine your computer's storage as a giant filing cabinet. Each drawer in this cabinet is a small section called an allocation unit or cluster. This tiny piece is the smallest chunk of space that the operating system can assign to a file. When you save a document or a photo, the system breaks it into these pieces. Even if your file is tiny, it still takes up one full cluster. This is because the system can't allocate less than one cluster to any file. The size of these clusters can change depending on the type of file system used. For example, some systems use 512 bytes, while others might use 4 kilobytes or even 60 for kilobytes. The default size often depends on the operating system and the disk size. For example, the new technology file system, which is common on Windows computers, usually defaults to 4 kilobytes per cluster. Larger clusters can make reading and writing big files faster because fewer clusters need to be accessed. But if you store many small files, larger clusters might waste space because each small file still takes up a whole cluster, even if it doesn't need all of it. Choosing the right cluster size is a balancing act. Larger sizes are good for storing large files like videos or high-resolution images. Smaller sizes work better if your computer mainly handles many small files, like documents or program files. If you change the cluster size, you usually need to reformat the disk, which erases everything. So, it's important to pick the right size before you start storing data. Different file systems have different default cluster sizes. For example, the new technology file system commonly uses 4 kilobytes, but others like the resilient file system may use larger sizes for better performance with large files. When managing storage, understanding cluster size helps you optimize space and speed. If you're working with large media files, a bigger cluster size can reduce the number of disk accesses needed, speeding up your work. On the other hand, if your system has many small files, smaller clusters can help save space and reduce waste. You can usually set the cluster size during disk formatting. If you want to change it later, you'll need to reformat the disk, which means backing up your data first. Tools like the Windows command prompt allow you to check the current cluster size or set a new one during formatting. Knowing about cluster size helps you manage your storage more effectively, whether you're setting up a new drive or optimizing an existing one. It plays a key role in how efficiently your operating system manages files and uses disk space.